Welcome to the Robot VARNAC making things episode, whatever it is, I don't know. But today's episode is going to be how to make hourly, quarterly, or even half-hour strike. It's your choice, depending on how many channels you put in this wheel here. This is an hourly or quarterly strike made by a friend of ours. And to take a look at it, you'll see that there is a bell here. There's a striker. And there's this disc that rotates. So in this case, it's every 15 minutes because this is a 1 RPH motor. That is, it makes 1 revolution per hour, and that's why it's called 1 revolution per hour. I don't think you can see it in there, it's too blurry or whatever, but you get the idea. It's this motor turns once per hour. So this wheel here, made of plastic, clear plastic if you can't really see it, it's divided in quarters, so every 15 minutes it causes this hammer to fall. The hammer has this, what's called an alignment tower. So the hammer only falls down when the wheel, this cog in the wheel lines up and frees the hammer to fall down and hit the bell like this. It takes too long to turn it on to show you. So you get the idea. When this channel moves past, the striker will fall and the wheel will continue turning until the next quarter hour. So this is a 1 RPH motor. The idea of this video is to take the thing apart so it can be finished and made into a finished item. So as we take the thing apart for reassembly and finishing, you'll see this is the alignment tower, and you can see there's a narrow slot here, and as the hammer moves, it stays aligned in the slot, so it won't really go off course and hit the bell properly. The reason though the arm is so long is that when it strikes the bell, there's this little stop block here, so it stops the hammer just before it hits the bell, so it won't just sit there wobbling and ringing. It only strike the bell 1 clear tone every 15 minutes. And as you can see, the alignment tower allows the hammer to stay aligned until the cog and the rotary disc here comes up and frees the hammer to fall down and strike the bell. So the arm is long, so when it hits the stop block, the mass of the hammer will continue moving and hit the bell, but not ring the bell over and over again. So I guess a good way to show it is that the hammer is positioned just away from the bell, maybe about 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, or 1/16 of an inch. But when it drops down, it hits the elasticity of the metal, allows the hammer to hit the bell. So let's take this thing apart. He wants it finished in a golden oak color. From what I hear, he uses it in a shop to help timing with the workflow, because his workers can't keep track of time. So if you want to make a different size one, you could put a different bell here, for example. put a taller bell here, just make these things taller to fit this. For example, you could put a bigger bell there, but you have to make the thing bigger, so you could put a bigger bell down there and hold it in place. This is just for a little itty bitty bell. And an important thing about the bell is to allow it to ring clearly. So the bell has these rubber spacers to allow the bell to ring clearly. You want the bell to ring, you don't want it to, for example, you don't want it thudding like that, you want it to ring clear like that. So there's special rubber washers on there to keep the bell spaced so it rings clearly. Now the hourly motor. If you get a half-hour motor, you could maybe put 2 slots in there, so it'll go for quarterly chime too, because the motor will spin twice as fast for, say, a half hour. So let's see, that's about it for today, folks. You'll see you later. Maybe you'll get to see this thing when it's finished in a glass case for proper presentation. Thanks for coming and taking a look at the hourly or quarterly strike chime. With no winding required, it'll ring a bell every 15 minutes, or you could even put different cogs on here. Like, for example, if you have say you could have different timing here. You don't have to have 15 minutes. You could have every 10 minutes or more. You could, however you want to time your day. Or for, in this case, break up an hour of time. This case is 15 minutes. You'll see that it's 90-degree angles and position, so it rings every 15 minutes. You just have to be careful timing it, so when it rings the bell, you know that's when you set it, because it's not like a clock with hands where you could set it to a time. You have to actually keep an eye on it, and when it rings, that's when you set the timing. So here are some ideas of other ideas you could possibly use for the hourly strike, and that is, so you have a low voltage connection between the striker and the bell, so you can use it to signal a much louder sound, for example. Or you don't even have to use a bell. It could be a contact point, and when it makes contact, it could trigger a relay and ring a louder bell or something like that too. So that's another option to have available. So let's finish this thing in a golden oak color. So when you're finishing the wood, you want to go with the grain. That's one of the reasons I took it apart, because now you could use the screw holes to hold the pieces as you put the finish on here. It's just a simple oil finish, so once it's in the glass case, the finish won't really collect much dust. So the parts will be hung up to dry, so you want to eliminate any paint runs and watch the edges there, so you don't want the paint buildup, like see that there. You want to eliminate that, keep that from happening, and make it look nice, as long as you're going to go through the trouble and Dab the extra finish off the brush so you don't get any runs. Runs are good in baseball, but not in finishing. And continue with all the other parts. So you want them all to be well finished, so the item looks nice for the customer. The customer's always right, you know, or at least they're supposed to be. There's other speeds of motors if you're thinking of making one of these to use in your home or office or workplace to help keep people on time and aware of timing, and be kind of like going back to school, where schools would have bell systems where the bells ring every 45 minutes or 50 minutes or whatever to break up the school day. For example, you could do the same thing at home or the workplace. Of course, commercial bell systems cost a lot of money, so this hourly strike thing is a lot cheaper. This is the support that holds the bell, as you saw in the other footage. If you have a bigger bell, you just make the parts bigger to accommodate and hold the bigger bell. So you could have any size bell you want as long as it'll fit. Of course, a real big church bell size bell, you probably need an electric solenoid to signal and sound the bell, like I was saying before. Use a low voltage connection to power a relay and strike a larger bell. And of course, in this case, you just hold the motor and to help finish it. So not only you get to see how the bell strike movement works, you get to see it being finished as well. Right before your very eyes, you can see it being finished. So it'll be put in service. I'll let you know in the comments if you know what kind of wood this is. It's a good test. See how knowledgeable you are of woods. This is a pretty common wood. I'll give you some hints. Let me know in the comments if you know what kind of wood this is. Who knows, Robot VARNAC may give you a prize for the correct answer. That's another thing. Robot VARNAC says he has some good quizzes coming up soon when he gets back from his home planet and the other side of the galaxy, so stay tuned for that too. For those of you who have actually missed Robot VARNAC, you'll see him soon. It's much sooner than I thought. Or not soon enough, I should say. So, since this is a simple, quick finish, line up the... Let's see if we can actually... Oh, and that's another thing. If you decide to make one of these things, make sure you know which way the motor turns before you make the disc. You want the disc to turn so it drops the thing. You don't want it turning the wrong way where the arm gets stuck in the thing. So you before you make the disc, see which way the motor turns. You don't want to make it wrong and the thing jams up on you. And the base piece, get a good slathering of finish on there. This is the bottom part. Notice the screws are countersunk on the bottom to hold them in place. Give the oil stain a good chance to soak into the wood before finishing up the brush strokes. Chances are you probably want to wear gloves to do this. You don't want to get the chemicals on your hands, but this is a brush case. Don't forget to put plenty of stain on the end grain. The end grain soaks up a lot of material there, so you get a lot of stain good and soaked into the end grain so the color is uniform. See how it soaks it up right before your eyes? The customer didn't want a routed edge on the thing. I guess they wanted a more contemporary look. So there's no routed edge here, just simple square. Just a reminder, that's public domain music you hear in the background. Public domain, should be no copyright issues. This is the top of the base. Knots also soak a lot of stain, so make sure you get put a lot of stain on the knots, so they soak up a lot of oil too there. So put a lot of stuff on the knot holes. And lay out your finishing blocks there. That's good enough. Now do the top side where it's mostly stain for most effect, and we get those runs out of there so it looks nice when it's sitting on the base on a tabletop. In this case, it'll be in part of inside a larger glass case in the owner's office there, so keep all the employees on edge, he says. When they hear that bell ring, you know time is passing and the boss is watching. And of course the tower here. You want to get a good slathering of stain on there too. Get it inside there too. You want the finish to be all over there. Protect the wood from warping too. You don't want the wood, raw wood exposed to moisture. It'll start to warp, and you want the bell strike to get out of alignment, because then it won't ring right or the thing will get jammed up. So you want the wood to be protected, so you want to make sure the wood will be sealed so it stays as accurate as possible. Depending on the motor, the synchronous motor you use, it can be very accurate because it's based on the alternating current, 60 cycle or 60 hertz a second house current, to keep the timing with the, that's because it's a regular synchronous clock motor that keeps accurate time. Most electric clocks out there, most electric clocks have a 1 RPM motor, so our hand goes around once for timing, but in this project it's a 1 revolution per hour motor. So use one of those hooks there, and so you can hang it up to dry. Touch it all up so there's no runs in there. Make sure the slot is, oh see, there's a run right there. You want to eliminate that, keep that from happening. Once you put this thing down, you want it to come back and bother with it until the stuff is dry and be done with it. So a little time now to catch those runs before they get out of hand. It'll save you time. Like the old saying, a stitch in time saves nine whatever, but there, it's all nicely finished and good enough. Let me know if you want to see more crazy projects like this in the comments. If I can't do what you want if I don't know, so let me know in the comments. Yeah, that should be about it for that too. Well, that's it for now. This is the real end now. Before you leave, check to see any runs. Get the runs out. Of course, always follow manufacturer instructions on your finish so you get the best results. This is for entertainment purposes only, as is wiring up the 120 volt current on the motor. That's, if you don't know how to work with house current, 120 volts can be deadly, so beware. If you don't know what you're doing, even ordinary house current can be deadly and kill you to death. So see you next time. That's the end for now. If you have any questions about the strike chime, let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course comment. So goodbye for now, till next week.